a total of 8 questions. We have 4 types of problems, 8 total questions, so there are 2 questions with each type. So we'll have 2 graphing, 2 substitution, 2 elimination, 2 word problems. So I want to go through and do one of each of these as a refresher. Let's just look at number 1. We'll go through the odds. If we want to solve by graphing, if you are going to graph a line, what form do we need it to be in? Y equals mx plus b. So I apologize, there's not a ton of space on this handout. If you need another sheet of paper, you're welcome to grab one. I would have to get y by itself first. So in the first equation, that means I need to subtract my 3x. So I have negative 5y equals negative 3x minus 35. Then what would you have to do? Everybody's doing this. This is part of your homework, and I am going to be collecting it. So if you don't do it now with me, you have to do it as homework later on. So negative 3 divided by negative 5 is a positive 3/5. Negative 35 divided by negative 5 is positive 7. So the first one, we get y equals 3/5 x plus 7. Okay, let's graph that. What would I have to do in order to graph this? Start at 7 on the y-axis. And then my slope is 3/5, so up 3 over 5. You could also go down 3 and backwards 5. You guys have rulers to draw nice straight lines. Alright, so on the quiz, you get points for rewriting this in y equals mx plus b form, as well as for graphing your line. So you need to show me your work, how you're getting it in the correct form. The second one, again, it's not set up for us to easily graph. So if I want to graph it, I need it to be y equals mx plus b form. So the first thing we would do is subtract the 2x. If we do that, y equals negative 2x minus 6. So those are the 2 lines. So to graph that line, we start at negative 6. Slope is negative 2. How do I graph that? Right, I think it was negative 2 over 1. So down 2, right 1. Or you could go up 2 and left 1. So draw that line. So again, you get credit for the work rewriting your line as well as graphing your line. The final thing I'm looking for, my solution, is where those lines meet. So it's this point right here. We need x, comma, y. So my x is negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my y is positive 1, 2, 3, 4. So negative 5, positive 4 is the solution. So this question would probably be worth a minimum of 5 points on your quiz. 2 points for rewriting both of those in y equals mx plus b. A point for graphing each of the lines, and a point for telling me where they meet. Alright? Any questions there? Let's go down to number 3. The next thing I asked was for you to solve by substitution. Now we've learned a couple different strategies, but if I say solve it by substitution, I do want you to do substitution. Okay? In order to substitute, we have to take one of the equations, get one of the variables by itself. We prefer things that are like a 1x or a 1y, that's the easiest. Hello. Okay, so we are looking for something that's a 1x or a 1y that we could easily solve for, so what do you want to get by itself? Okay, so you're trying to get the y by itself in this one. How would I move that x over though? Add x. So now I know that y equals x plus 1. Then we have to take that and we are plugging it into the other equation. It is my y, so it is replacing the y in that equation. So that equation is 3x plus 2 times the y, which we said is x plus 1, equals negative 8. Okay, if you struggle keeping things lined up, draw your vertical line down. I notice that's helping a few of you. So if we distribute our 2, we get 3x plus 2x plus 2 equals negative 8. We subtract our 2. 5x equals negative 10. Divide by 5, and x is negative 2. All right, that's half the answer. We're looking for an ordered pair. We have x. How do we get the y? Plug it in. We said up here, y is equal to x plus 1. So if I replace my x with negative 2, y is negative 2 plus 1, I get y equals negative 1. So negative 2, negative 1 is our answer. Are we okay with substitution? Let's look at elimination. Go to number 5. The idea with elimination is we want to be able to add our equations together and get the variables to cancel. So in order for them to cancel when I add them together, they have to be the same number but opposite signs. We need a positive and a negative. When I'm looking at this, nothing cancels right now. So we have to decide which variable we want to cancel first. Which one do you want to get rid of? Y. Okay. This is a positive 3. So if they're going to cancel, this one has to be negative 3. So I'm going to take this first equation times negative 3. So then that gives me negative 6x minus 3y equals 6. Second equation we didn't change. 5x plus 3y equals negative 8. We add. Okay, if you're actually thinking about this as you add, you'll find out if you made a mistake. Negative 6 plus 5 is a negative 1. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0, so those are gone. 6 plus negative 8 is negative 2. So if we divide by negative 1, x is equal to 2. Again, we're looking for the ordered pair. We have x, so to get y, we plug this back in to one of the original equations. So if I just go with the first one, 2 times x plus y equals negative 2. 4 plus y equals negative 2. Subtract out 4. Negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. How do we know when there's a no solution in a problem? What does it look like? Like, if I gave you equations, 2x minus 3y equals 5, and negative 2x plus 3y equals 6. When I add those together, my x's cancel, my y's cancel. So what's left over here?
0.
And 5 plus 6 is 11.
No.
0 does not equal 11. So that's a no solution. The other situations, sometimes we had some where they were infinite solutions. Do you remember what it looks like when they're infinite solutions?
It'd be like 11 equals 11.
Mm-hmm. So if, for instance, up here, this one had been equal to negative 5. 5 plus negative 5 is 0. 0 does equal 0. So that's when it's infinite. So if all of your variables cancel out, that's when it's either no solution or infinite solution. If you're left with a false statement, that's no solution. If you're left with a true statement, it's infinite. In terms of graphing, how do you know when it's no solution?
If it's graphed on the same line.
When they're the same line, that's infinite.
Or no solution is parallel.
Parallel lines.
Yeah.
They never cross. Good. All right, let's take a look at a word problem. Okay, with these, there's a few more points because you do have to take the time to define your variables, and you do have to write out your answer at the end. If you do not define your variables, you are losing points even if you get everything else correct. So the directions will tell you. Make sure you are defining those variables. Let's take a look at our problem. 2 times a number minus 3 times another number is negative 15. 5 times the first number added to the second is 39. Find the numbers. What are the things I need? Just the numbers. Now, defining your variables, that is not just writing x and y. That does not earn you any credit. You have to tell me what x and y are. So I need to say x is the first number and y is the second number. So make sure you tell me what your x and y represent. Even if it's just the 2 numbers, you have to write that piece out. Okay, x is the first, y is the second. Then, once we do that, we write our 2 equations. So the first thing we know, 2 times a number. So that would just be 2x minus, so we're subtracting 3 times another number. So that would be 3y is means negative 15. Second equation, 5 times the first number, so that would be a 5x, added to the second number, so just y, is 39. All right, now we can solve this. I didn't tell you how, so that means any strategy you want. So substitution or elimination. Seemed like we preferred elimination, so we're probably going to go with that. If I wanted to eliminate, what would I have to do? Okay. So we can choose, do we want to eliminate x or y? We're going to multiply by something. If I wanted to eliminate y, we would have to take the second one times 3. If you wanted to eliminate x, you would have to multiply both of them. The first one by a 5, second one by a negative 2. Alright, so I didn't change my first equation. second equation becomes 15x plus 3y equals 117. So if we add these together, 2x plus 15x is 17x. Negative 3y and positive 3y cancel. Negative 15 plus 17 is 102. Divide 17, and what do we get? Okay, we need to find y, so we can plug it back into either one. If I go with the first one, 2 times x minus 3y equals negative 15. Subtract our 12. Divide -3. And y is 9. And then, what else do we have to do on these word problems? I'm not just writing an ordered pair. You have to tell me what's what. So the numbers are 6 and 9. A lot of times they're standing for like children and adults. So 6 children, 9 adults, or whatever. But you have to go back and put those labels on them at the end. Questions there? Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to stop and I want you guys to finish this. So you have a problem of each type. When you get done, you're going to show them to me. If you miss any, I'm going to have you fix them. Okay, so we're going to kind of check over it and make sure we're good for this quiz tomorrow.